Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be putting $100,000 into the altcoin in front of you. Most importantly, is not just putting $100,000 into it. It's about the reasoning and the thought process and my plan that I'm going to transparently show and break down to you. So let's go ahead and actually buy the altcoin, just like I said I would about a week ago. And by the way, actually, great call by us. I know a lot of you have made a lot of money on this call, so congrats to you. But last episode where we talked about this play, we put around $31,000 into HEX, and just in the last week alone, buying at 18 cents, that's already made a 33% return at the current price. And that $31,000 we invested there is already $43,000 just off of that free call I made on the channel. And so I told you guys last video about HEX, I told you guys we're going to put 30,000 in now, and I'm going to add 70,000 later. And so today we're adding 64,000, which is perfectly almost gets us up to 100,000. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to explain to you the reasoning behind it. So let's go ahead and make the swap here on 1inch.io. We're going to need to sign the transaction as this goes through. $143 gas fee, push it in, and there we go. Okay, so as this transaction goes through, we're going to do some analysis here, and I'm going to break down to you what my thought process and plan is here, and then let's just do it. All right, so HEX Ether pair, guys, like I told you, see this right here? I told you once we get down to the support level, boom, what happens? It dominates Ether. Gets down here, it dominates Ether. Gets down here, it dominates Ether, right? And if you don't know what I mean or what is dominating Ether, this is a pair. And by the way, our transaction just confirmed. Let's go back to that. Boom. So that's in. And now let's check our wallet here. So we've put now roughly $100,000 into the position, like 95,000. Okay, so right around there. All right, so we got our position, that's out of the way. Now, like I said, back to the breakdown and the analysis of my plan and why I think this is such an easy and smart bet. Okay, so getting into reason number one, if you didn't know, PulseChain is a network that is going to be coming out soon where you're going to be getting a copy of all of your HEX onto the new network, right? So for example, in this wallet right here, you've got 422,000 HEX. So guess what? When the new network comes out, you're going to get 422,000 HEX on that network as well. Now, this is a good thing and a bad thing depending on how you look at that. And that's what I really want to break down in this video because really, think about it. If you're getting a copy of all these onto the new network, what does that mean? You're doubling the supply. And so doubling the supply could be a positive or a negative. Ultimately, I believe that when you add the two together, right, Ethereum HEX price and the Pulse HEX price, it will be a net positive outcome in my opinion. Now, guys, there are so many ways to break this down. I'm going to break down a couple or a few of those ways. This becomes a net positive situation and how it becomes a net negative situation. Okay, so think about it. If we just bought HEX at 25 cents and we're getting a copy, then, kind of the way we could break it down is we just basically paid 12.5 cents for Ethereum HEX and 12.5 cents for our Pulse HEX. Okay, so you could argue that there's a smarter way to do this, which is to go and try to buy HEX on the new network, right, on Pulse, whenever it's like pennies, right, like a 1 penny, 2 penny. The truth is, it may not be that simple, it may not be that easy, we really don't know. Okay, all I know is that if you want HEX on the new network, a guaranteed way to do that is to get your HEX now, right? And so that's actually a secondary plan is, of course, right? It sounds so easy, right? Because if you didn't know, the new HEX is going to start at a price of 0, right? It's going to be 0 when it first launches on the new network. So everyone thinks the same thing. Oh, let's all ape into the new HEX when it's like, 0 or when it's less than a penny. But I mean, if everyone in the world thinks that, how is it going to be like that? You know what I mean? It won't be long. And so it's either going to be a race who can do it fastest, or it's just not going to be that easy. I mean, guys, it sounds like a money glitch, right? Oh, as soon as the new HEX comes out, let me go ape into that. Guys, if it was that easy, everyone would be rich, you know what I mean? But no, not everyone's rich. And so, I highly doubt it'll be that easy, right? So that's just kind of how I think. And so the way I view it right now is, okay, if we just bought it at or see these two white lines, this is where I've publicly bought it and showed you on my channel in my videos, right? So I've now bought on my video at 25 cents and at 18 cents, okay? So if you average that out, my real entry price on the YouTube position, right? I'm calling this my public YouTube position. I think, what is that, like 23, 22 cents? We'll just say it's around there. I'd have to pull the calculator out. Someone can tell me in the comments below what exactly that is. But so let's say, like, okay, below this yellow line, I'm losing money. Above it, we're making money, right? But it's not completely true that if we're below this yellow line, I'm losing money, because remember, you got to account for Pulse HEX, which you're going to be airdropped. Obviously, it's 0 right now, right? But you have to realize it will have a price soon, and that is coming. So at the end of the day, I want to get into the 2 reasons that I'm bullish at this point, even though it just pumped from 14 cents to 25 cents. Obviously, we bought on the dip. That was beautiful buy there. All right, but why am I overall bullish still? It comes down to 2, reasons besides some of the fundamentals or the pumpamentals and all these other things that, are just already built into HEX. Okay, and that is the snapshot pump and people aping into PHEX, right? PulseChain. Okay, so let's explain reason number 1, the snapshot pump. Guys, I think we're pretty close to PulseChain launching. It could be in a week from now, it could be in a month from now, it could be in 2 months from now. But what I do know is that PulseChain is going to come soon, and when it comes, we're going to get some kind of official date for it, right? Or there's going to be some kind of anticipation and hype. People are going to know it's coming, and it's going to come soon, right? So think about it. Everyone wants to get their copy on the PulseChain network, right? So okay, if we find out, like, let's say we find out PulseChain is coming out next week, don't you think a lot of people are going to start buying HEX so that they can get their free copy on the Pulse network? Exactly, they will. And so that's a catalyst that is coming up, whether that's in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, or in a month from now. People are going to want their free copy of HEX onto the new network. So they will buy it, and I do believe there's like a 95% plus probability you're going to get a snapshot pump, is what I'm going to call it, right? Is all these people are going to ape into Ethereum HEX so that they can get their copy on the Pulse network, right? So that's major catalyst and reason number 1 to still be bullish at this price right now, 25 cents. Second reason, people aping into PHEX. So what you have to understand about your Ethereum HEX right now is, dude, this can drop all the way down to 10 cents, and I'm not worried. Why? Okay, because think about it. What matters is when you add the 2 parts, do they add up to be greater than the whole? So think about it. If you have a 10-cent Ethereum HEX, right, but you have, let's say, a 30-cent PHEX, right, that's a 0.4 total when you add it up to make a whole, right? When you add the EHEX and then the PHEX, right? Together, that equals 0.4, right? In total, what are we spending? Like 0.25? No, 0.23 if you average out the entry. So that's a 2x, right? Because remember, it's not just about your Ethereum HEX. Fuck, your Ethereum HEX can dump, guys. It really doesn't matter if one of these hexes does well, whether that's Ethereum HEX or Pulse HEX, or let's say they're even. Let's say HEX is 0.2 on each. That's still a profit, guys. Do you realize that 0.2 plus 0.2 is 0.4? Okay, however you slice it, however you divide it, however you multiply it, fucking whatever you do, what matters is that the 2 pieces are going to add up to be greater than the whole. And so what is our piece right now? It's 0.23, right? So really, all I need on both networks to break even is I need like an 11-cent HEX, right? Because what is 11-cent HEX equal on both networks, right? That would equal 0.11 plus 0.11 equals 0.22, which is what I overall paid for total for this HEX. You see what I mean? So, guys, we need HEX to stay above 11 cents on both networks, or we need the 2 pieces to be greater than 0.22, okay, for my position to make a profit. Does that make sense? And so to me, when you slice it up this way, whether it's 0.22 or whether it's 0.2 on each network, whether it's 0.11 on each network and I'm break even, or whether it's 0.1 on Ethereum HEX, 0.3 on PHEX, right? What matters is that you have a value greater than 0.22 for my position, right? So if you're in HEX, or if you just recently bought, then you should be doing the math for your situation, okay? What is your total value? What is your total entry cost? And then you need to do basically what I'm doing, is will the value overall be greater, do you think? So let's say we think PHEX will be 30 cents, and let's say, what if Ethereum HEX dropped to 0.1? That's still a 2x, guys, right there. And this is very, very logical and very reasonable in my opinion. You know what I mean? And so A common rebuttal, a common concern is, Alex, don't you think that everyone's just gonna dump their hex once the new hex comes out? Okay, sure, let them do that. Okay, because what you understand, if you understand hex, the fundamentals and how it works, you understand that the more people leave EHEX, the more profitable the APY becomes. And you got to think, people are locked into this for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So there's always going to be someone holding the bag in Ethereum hex, right? Because once again, you have 10% of people are staked out 5, 10, 15 years. So automatically, you're going to have a portion of supply locked up, which means it can't go to zero if a portion of supply is locked up. And on top of that, you know what I mean? The cheaper EHEX gets, or also the more people leave EHEX, the higher interest rate and annual return you get. And so it's just a self-balancing process. The more people that leave, the more people are going to want to come into Ethereum hex. So I think that Ethereum hex is so slept on, man, because everyone is just, they're so distracted by the new kid on the block, which is going to be Pulse hex. But very few people even understand the fundamentals and understand how the interest works. The interest comes from a 3.69% inflation rate, which is split amongst stakers. So if you have 10% of people staked, then this interest, right, this inflation, this yearly inflation is going to be divided amongst 10% of stakers. But imagine you only have 1% of stakers. Okay, if only 1% of people are staked, then this 3.69% inflation gets divided amongst the 1% of stakers, right? So the less people stake, the higher interest you're going to get. And that's why the more people that leave Ethereum hex, the more profitable it's going to be most likely, or at least the higher annual interest rate you're going to get, which is going to attract people back to Ethereum hex, right? Because, okay, sure, maybe you're paying more in gas fees on Ethereum hex, but maybe you're getting, okay, let's break this down, right? So maybe, you just saw my gas fee was like 140 bucks. Okay, but what if, okay, sure, Ethereum gas fees may suck, but what if instead of getting a 40% interest rate per year, I'm getting an 80% interest rate per year? Okay, then the gas fee is not going to fucking matter that much. You see what I mean? So that's one way to look at it, and that's why I think that both hexes will succeed. I mean, a lot of people think that one's going to go to shit. No. This thing is designed to do well, at least in the near short term, that's for sure, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I think Ethereum hex is majorly slept on after Pulse hex comes out because, like I said, everyone's distracted by the new kid on the block. They don't realize the self-balancing fundamentals that are in place here. And on top of that, I want to get into my third reason, which is that when hex breaks an all-time high, it runs. Okay, and also when hex hits a bottom, it runs. Okay, let me show you an example, right? So hex hit a bottom here. Guess what? It pumped. And imagine you're like, you know what? It's already pumped. I'm not going to buy it, right? Look right here. It's up, let's say when it was up 50%, right? Okay. Oh, let's say you didn't want to buy it because it was already up. Guys, let me tell you something about the behavior of hex is once it starts running, it usually continues running. Okay. And, at the end of the day, if you zoom out and look at the chart, it's a pretty bullish one. So, it's okay. I'm not an emotional person. This is all money that I can afford to lose, and so this is why if I go, in the red or something, to me, it's not going to bother me. Whereas someone else, maybe you freak out if you're in the red. You know what I mean? To me, I can sit on this. This is just trading profits from the last couple weeks, so it's almost like free money I'm playing with here, is what it feels like. You know what I mean? So there's just zero emotions for me. So for me, we may be in different positions, so you have to play according to your position. You know what I mean? But what I want to show you is every time hex breaks an all-time high, it absolutely runs. So look at this all-time high here at 20 cents in hex. All right, once you break this all-time high, look how much hex flies. It flies, 166%. And that's a gain, by the way, not a return. 166% gain, which is basically like a double, right? Look, we break this all-time high in hex. Guess what it does? That shit runs 100% before stopping. All right, look at this. Hex breaks the all-time high. It runs, 45% before stopping. Let's do another example. Look at this. Hex breaks the all-time high. That shit runs 202% before stopping. And whether we hit a new all-time high here on Ethereum hex, which is possible. Why? Because going back to reason number one, the snapshot pump, right? Okay, let's say all of a sudden we know PulseChain's coming out in 2 weeks. Everyone's going to start buying their Ethereum hex so they can get a copy. Okay, and if that happens, guys, the pump could be massive. The pump could be just insane. And we could take out this all-time high, and you know what happens every time you break that all-time high? You go a minimum up 50%, and we see it a lot of times go up 200%. So let's measure that from the all-time high if we can break it. I'm not saying we will, right? I'm just kind of mapping out scenarios. So a minimum return right here is a 50% break past the all-time high would get us to 72 cents in the near future, okay? Let's say you go 200% from the all-time high. Oh, guess where that gets you to? $1.47. And then let's say you go 100% past the all-time high. Guess where that gets you to? Exactly $1. Guys, these are all reasonable targets. The only thing that I think makes this a little less possible, or a little less reasonable maybe, is just the fact that you have PulseChain as well, right? But like I said, the pump that we may see going into PulseChain, it could be massive. It really could be. And you got to realize, I think there's like $50 million in liquidity, so it really doesn't take a lot of money to double here, in my opinion. So, yeah, guys, I think a lot of people are underestimating how far this can go right now before even PulseChain comes. And what you don't realize is this shit will happen fast, okay? Sometimes, I know right now it may seem like it's moving slow or whatever. It may feel like we've been in a drought for a while. I'm telling you, once things start get moving, things get, they start fucking moving. All right, so like right here, for example, once it start moving, it's hard to stop that train. And I think we may see the same thing here. You know what I mean? I think the trains got moving. We got in on this nice little pullback. It may pull back more, and that was my plan originally. I was thinking, man, let's have it pull back to 20 cents. Boom, I'll load the boat there, and then we'll run up. But you know what? I'm not really worried. Like I said, once this thing gets running, it really starts running. And look at the volume characteristics. So when we're going up, we're going up on very strong volume. When we're pulling back, you can see it's on very, very low volume, right? So look at that. You're going higher, strong volume. You pull back, low volume. So overall, it's just a bullish chart in my opinion. I think that's the bottom. I think this is a trend reversal. And obviously, look, I'm not saying Ethereum HEX can't dump to a lower price after the snapshot, after PulseChain launches. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that, once again, when you add the two pieces together, 0.11, 0.11, or 0.10 and 0.3, or 0.2 and 0.2, if that adds up to be greater than your entry price on Ethereum HEX right now, you make money. And like I said, it's just not hard. HEX needs to be either 0.2 on each to fucking double your money, guys. 0.2 on each. That's it. Okay, and like I said, HEX is designed to do well on both networks, Ethereum and Pulse. That's a key factor. So many people overlook. Everyone, like I said, is distracted by the new kid on the block. So guys, that's your 3 reasons why I am bullish here. Even though, yeah, it's up, big in the last week. That's why we got some skin in the game here at 18 cents, and we added the rest here at 25 cents. And so, like I said before, everyone is in a different situation, different position, and personally, I am totally cool. Like, if HEX drops to 10 cents, guys, if it dropped to 1 cent, sure, it wouldn't be nice, but dude, I'm not really sweating it. You know what I mean? So you have to decide for yourself, what's your risk tolerance? How cool are you about it? You know what I mean? I'm just telling you, there's no real pressure here for me. All right? So, treat it differently because if you have more pressure on you, then you need to think about it a little differently. But that's my plan. That's why I'm bullish. And just to wrap those 3 reasons up again, right? Reason number 1, snapshot pump. Everyone's going to want to get a copy of their HEX onto the new network, right? So that's going to incentivize people to hold, right? If you already have HEX, that's going to incentivize you to hold to get your copy. And 2, it's going to incentivize new people to buy so that they can get airdropped their new HEX, right? 2, people are going to ape into PHEX, right? Because let's say it starts at 0. Let's say it's a penny. Okay, so what if people sell their HEX here to go into PHEX? At the end of the day, once again, you get both pieces of the pie, right? So it doesn't really hurt you if everyone leaves this HEX and goes to the next HEX. If anything, that's just going to give you an awesome opportunity here as well as they're also going to be pumping your bags on the new HEX. You see what I mean? And then 3 is with the snapshot pump, with the bullish reasons, with the bullish chart here, if we can break this all-time high, we have a massive run coming possibly. I'm not saying we will. I'm just saying it's a fact. Every time HEX breaks its previous all-time high, the shit goes flying 50 to 200% usually. And you know, we may see a pump right up to that all-time high, break it, and guys, this could be a massive 3-4x just easily, you know, and so, you know, guys, I'm not saying I know the future. I'm not saying this is guaranteed. I'm just saying that this is what I put $100,000 into. That is my reasoning. I can be wrong. I can lose money. I am not perfect, but I am going to share with you transparently. I'm going to break it down, give you my reasoning, so you can decide for yourself, as well as do your own research and kind of look into things more and break down your own numbers, right? These are my numbers. This is my average entry price is 0.22 on my public position here on YouTube that I've transparently shown you. Who else is doing this, right? I'd like to see you name one person doing this, you know, publicly showing you this live, because, you know, a lot of people, they're embarrassed to lose money. You know what I mean? Guys, I share wins, losses here. It's like, you know what I mean? Open book here for you guys to see. So guys, if you enjoy that, drop a like, make sure you are subscribed. Congratulations to everyone who bought the dip and listened about our reasoning, you know, here. You know what I mean? It was solid reasoning, and we had so many people screaming, ha ha, wait till it goes to zero, you're fucked, you're going to lose all your money, and you deserve to lose all your money. And what did I tell those people? I said, look, every single dip you guys scream it's a scam. Every single dip you say it's going to zero. If you just shut the fuck up and buy that dip, you do fantastic. And it's the same story here. All the people who scream it's a scam, it's going to zero, if they would have just shut the fuck up, actually bought instead of being stubborn, okay, and, you know, ignorant, I guess, or I mean, we don't have to say they're ignorant, right? They have their own view, right? If you think that's a scam, that's you. You know, that's all you. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong or right. You know what I mean? But I am telling you that you missed out on literally 100% gain because you were too stubborn and your ego was too big. And personally, I'm not going to let my ego stop me from literally doubling my money in a matter of fucking 3 days. You know what I mean? So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I don't care if Ethereum HEX dumps. At the end of the day, what are the two pieces going to add up to, guys? All right, so I hope you enjoy my breakdown. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.